For the cookie crust, I'm just going to make a white chocolate ganache, and I have 2 cups of white chocolate chips and a cup of just regular low-fat milk, and I'm going to melt that over a double boiler. While the ganache is coming together, I'm just going to crush up a package of vanilla wafer cookies, and then I'm going to combine the two. Normally this recipe calls for heavy whipping cream, but I wanted to try to keep it a little bit less fattening. So I used milk, but I recommend using probably about a half a cup of milk to 2 cups of chips, the white chocolate chips. I'm going to add about a cup of the ganache, and I did add some more chips in hopes that it would thicken up a little bit. Anyway, you're just going to mix that together. Just until it's combined. I'm just going to press the cookie crumb into the bottom of the pan, of the spring-loaded pan, spring-form pan. And I just buttered the bottom just so the crust wouldn't stick later. So for the ice cream, because I couldn't find any cream cheese ice cream, I'm using 2 1.5 quart containers of vanilla ice cream, and I have 2 8-ounce packages of cream cheese and sugar, salt, and vanilla in this bowl, and I'm going to beat together the cream cheese and the sugar, and then I'm going to combine it with the ice cream. So the exact quantities will be in the description for you. While I was creaming together, or before I creamed together the cream cheese and the sugar and those things, I forgot to mention that I put the crust in the freezer to just firm up so that, and chill, so that the ice cream isn't going to be fighting against the heat of that. I figured it might be easier to put these cookies in a food processor if you have them, so that's what we're going to try. And this is for in between the 2 ice cream layers. I've added the ice cream. Now I'm going to whip the cream cheese with the ice cream. That looks pretty well combined. Yep, looks good. So now that the ice cream is combined with the cream cheese mixture and the crust has chilled and set for a little, I'm going to put the first layer of ice cream in. And I'm just using a ladle because it might be a little bit heavy if you try to pick up a big bowl like this. Okay, so I'm just going to take my cookie crumblies, and I've put a little bit of ganache in this because I would actually recommend maybe trying some vanilla or the white Oreos or something like that, because the vanilla wafers just seem to, they just seem to like powder up too much when you try to crush them. So I've added some ganache just to, so it's not complete powder when I put it in between the ice cream layers. And so I'm just crumbling that and spreading it over the top of the first layer of ice cream. It'll still taste good, but it won't have a crunchy middle. Okay, so after I do that, I'm gonna put another layer of the ice cream in, and then I'm gonna put it in the freezer to set. We're going to be making butterscotch buttercream. So I have a cup of butterscotch chips here, and I'm just going to put these over double boiler to melt up. Okay, so this is all melted, and I do want to note that I put a couple tablespoons of butter in with this, some of the butter, because it was just all sticking to the bowl, and this makes it nice and easy, so I'll be able to scrape it out and it won't stick. So we're going to go ahead and add this to the butter and make our icing. I'm going to add a teaspoon of vanilla, or a capful. I don't really measure things too well. And maybe like a quarter of a teaspoon of salt. Even though I'm using the salted butter, I still like it to be, I still like to add a little bit of salt. Alright, so I'm going to cream the butter and the butterscotch chips together. Okay, I guess my butterscotch chips were still a little warm, or maybe even hot, because that butter just melted real quick. So I would suggest or recommend letting that butterscotch chips just cool down just a little before you start this. So I'm going to go ahead and put it in the freezer, probably in the freezer for 5 minutes, just to get it to cool to the point where the powdered sugar won't dissolve, because you want the icing to be fluffy. Okay, so that worked really, really well, and I just mixed it up a little bit. It's nice and firm again. So I'm going to start adding the powdered sugar a little at a time and make the icing. ice the cake with that delicious butterscotch buttercream icing. And I just put it in bags overnight while the ice cream cake was in the freezer. And I'm just going to squeeze it all out here. I actually have 3 bags. Make quite a bit.